Prologue. 4 in the morning. The world is still asleep, but I am already walking down the hospital corridor. Mop in hand, worn apron tied around my waist. This is how every day begins when you are 63 years old. I became a nurse at 23. Head nurse by 39. And at 40, I walked away from it all. Now I am a cleaning contractor at this university hospital. People call me the cleaning lady. No one asks my name. No one wonders where I came from. That is fine. Being invisible is not so bad. When no one sees you, you get to see everything. Today, like every other day, I will scrub toilets, mop floors, and dispose of medical waste. And without thinking, I will check on the patients. Why does that man look so jaundiced? Why is that elderly woman breathing so heavily? 25 years later, and I still cannot turn it off. ACT1 Invisible. Living in the shadows. 3 years I have worked here now. The beginning was the hardest. Every time a young nurse in scrubs walked past me, my heart would ache. That used to be me. That was supposed to be my place. But humans adapt to anything. Now I just lower my head and step aside. That is my place now. The emergency room at dawn is a battlefield. Blood and vomit from overnight patients scattered across the floor. I clean it up in silence. A nurse walks past and wrinkles her nose at me. The floor is not clean enough, apparently. No apology. No thank you. Just that look of disgust before she moves on. I used to stand where she stands. I was tough on new nurses too. How did I treat the cleaning staff back then? I cannot quite remember. Probably the same way. So I am not angry. This is penance. Payment for who I used to be. In a corner of the emergency room, an elderly woman sat alone. No family, just a wristband with her name. Martha Williams, 82. She looked like she had come from somewhere far away. She looked so tired that I walked over without thinking, and offered her some water. The moment I spoke, she grabbed my hand. Her grip was surprisingly strong for someone so frail. She told me I was the first person who had spoken to her since she arrived. I sat beside her for a while, held her hand, said nothing. It was all I could do. The phone call. Lunchtime. I am eating in the corner of the break room when my phone rings. It is Kevin, my younger son. He needs money again. $5,000 this time. He has found another business opportunity with a friend. A sure thing, he says. I remind him that I sent him $300 just last month. And ask what happened to that. He mumbles that things did not work out, but this time is different. This time is different. How many times have I heard those words? He is 35 and still has not held down a real job. Always another startup, another scheme, always needing money. I sigh and tell him I will send it when I get paid. After hanging up, I cannot swallow another bite. Another tight month ahead. David, my older son, is doing better. Middle management at a tech company. But he is drowning in his mortgage. His wife Jennifer barely looks at me anymore. Embarrassed that her mother-in-law cleans hospitals, I suppose. I gave up everything to raise these boys. And this is what I got back. A son who asks for money. A daughter-in-law who will not meet my eyes. But what can I do? I am their mother. Mothers endure. I close my lunch container half-eaten. I will finish it for dinner. The book on the shelf. That afternoon, I am assigned to clean the hospital director's office. Dr. Thomas Wright, the man who runs this place. A former surgeon, cold and commanding. I have never actually met him. Cleaning always happens when he is not there. The office is spacious and elegant. Leather sofas, a heavy oak desk, and one wall covered in bookshelves. I am dusting when something catches my eye. Among the medical texts sits a familiar spine. A philosophy of medicine book. I borrowed from the nursing school library 30 years ago. My hand moves on its own. I pull it out and turn the pages. Memories come flooding back. Back then, I read everything I could get my hands on. Studied late into the night after my shifts. I dreamed of getting my master's degree, maybe teaching one day. That dream died with marriage. Without realizing it, I start writing notes in the margins. Underlining passages. A 30-year-old habit, suddenly alive again. When I come to my senses, I have defaced someone else's book. My heart drops. I search frantically for an eraser but cannot find one. I slide the book back on the shelf and leave. What if someone notices? Will I be fired? I do not sleep that night. The old recordings. Home after work. Home being a tiny studio apartment in Queens. $900 a month. Shared bathroom down the hall, no kitchen. On a small shelf sits my husband's photograph. He passed 5 years ago. 15 years fighting the aftermath of a stroke, and then he was gone. Next to his photo is something I have kept all these years. My nursing cap. White turned yellow, 30 years old. Sometimes I take it out. Hold it. Put it back. Tonight I do that. Stare at it for a long time. Then I pull out my old laptop. And open a folder of medical lectures I saved years ago. Continuing education courses I never finished. I play them sometimes while washing dishes or folding laundry. This is the only time I feel alive. Anyone watching would think I am crazy. A 63-year-old cleaning lady in a tiny apartment. Listening to medical lectures. But if I let go of this, I am finished. Without this, I am just someone who cleans until she dies. I am not ready for that. Not yet. The crying doctor. A few days later, early morning in the emergency room, I hear something strange. Someone is crying in the corner. I approach and find a young doctor. Early 30s, white coat. A resident, probably. His name tag says Michael Park. I hesitate. Should I pretend I did not see? But his shoulders are so low, so defeated. I cannot just walk away. Quietly, I buy a coffee from the vending machine and set it in front of him. He looks up. His eyes are red and swollen. I do not know what to say. So I just stand there. For a long time. He tells me his patient just died. He thinks he should have caught it sooner. He does not know what to tell the family. I tell him what a senior nurse once told me, many years ago. It is okay to cry. But when you are done crying, you have to go to the next patient. I tell him I used to be a nurse. Long time ago. Something changes in his eyes. Curiosity, maybe. Or respect. I have not seen that look in a very long time. He asks my name. I tell him Susan. Susan Chen. He introduces himself as Michael Park, third-year emergency medicine resident. He is the first person in this hospital to ask my name. I am grateful. Just grateful. 25 years ago. That night, I dream of the past. 2008. Mount Sinai Emergency Room. I was head nurse then. Patients pouring in every night, screaming, the smell of blood. I never stopped running. They called me the night shift guardian angel. If Susan is on duty, patients do not die. That is what they said. How did I end up here? The financial crisis hit. My husband's construction company went under. Overnight, we were drowning in debt. Then he collapsed. Stress-induced stroke. Half his body paralyzed. My mother-in-law was showing early signs of dementia. The boys were still in grade school. The hospital called asking if I could cover the night shift. I held the phone and cried. I told them I had to resign. The day I wrote my resignation letter, my hands shook. A colleague asked if I was really leaving. What would the emergency room do without me? I smiled and said there would be plenty of others to take my place. But no one else could be my kid's mother. That is how I took off my scrubs. 25 years of caregiving followed. Husband, mother-in-law, children. I wake from the dream with a wet pillow. ACT2 taking off the gloves. That day in the lobby. It happens suddenly. An ordinary afternoon. I am mopping the lobby floor. Looking out the window when I hear a scream. I turn. A man has collapsed. 50s, in a suit. His face is turning blue. People panic around me. Someone yells to call 911. Someone else asks if there is a doctor. But no one approaches him. I freeze. Mop still in hand. That man is not breathing. His lips are blue. Cardiac arrest. 30 years of memory come rushing back. CPR. Airway. Chest compressions. Rescue breathing. I should not get involved. I am just the cleaning lady. No license. What if something goes wrong? But that man is dying. There is no time to think. I set down the mop and run. And for the first time in 25 years, I take off my rubber gloves. CPR. I kneel beside him. Check for consciousness. No response. Not breathing. I clear his airway and start chest compressions. Hands interlaced, pressing the center of his sternum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keeping rhythm. I hear murmuring around me. People wondering what the cleaning lady is doing. Someone suggests stopping me. I cannot afford to care. All my focus is on my hands. The depth, speed, rhythm of each compression. 25 years have passed, but my body remembers. 30 compressions, 2 breaths. 30 more compressions. Sweat pours down. My arms tremble. My 63-year-old body struggles. But I cannot stop. Time blurs. The emergency team arrives. Dr. Park runs up and tells me he will take over. I step back. They attach the defibrillator. 1 shock. 2. Then his chest moves. His heart is beating again. I collapse onto the floor. My legs give out. Applause erupts around me. Someone is filming on their phone. The cleaning lady saved someone's life, they say. An unexpected identity. That evening, the hospital is in chaos. The video from the lobby has gone viral. Cleaning lady's miracle. Millions of views overnight. Media shows up. Reporters look for me, but I hide. I cannot face the cameras. Days later, I am summoned to the director's office. Dr. Wright wants to see me. My heart pounds. Am I in trouble? Practicing medicine without a license. Getting fired. I open the door and walk in. Dr. Wright sits at his desk. 60s, commanding presence. And beside him stands a man in an expensive suit. The man I saved. Dr. Wright tells me who he is. The Undersecretary of Health and Human Services. I saved a federal official. My mind goes blank. The man in the suit walks toward me. Then he bows deeply and thanks me for saving his life. I fumble for words. It was nothing. Anyone would have done it. He turns to the director and asks why someone who was a head nurse at this very hospital is now working as a cleaner. The director's face tightens. An awkward title. And so I get a new title. Special Advisor for Patient Experience. I am still not sure what that means. I trade my cleaning uniform for a navy vest. My job is to address patients' non-medical needs. Honestly, the director did not want to hire me. I hear later he planned to fire me quietly, to avoid controversy about unlicensed practice. But the undersecretary stepped in personally. Parachute hire. That is what people whisper behind my back. My first day, I go to introduce myself to the chief nursing officer. Karen Miller, late 40s, head of all nursing staff. She looks me up and down with cold eyes. She reminds me that even if I was a nurse once, I am not anymore. No license means I am just a cleaner. She tells me to follow protocol and not interfere with medical care. I lower my head and say I understand. She is right. I am not a nurse anymore. But something in my chest aches. Another life. Days later, the emergency room is in chaos. A major car accident has brought in a flood of patients. Medical staff are overwhelmed with critical cases. Less urgent patients are left waiting. I walk through the waiting area, checking on people, bringing water, calming worried families. Then I notice an elderly man. Late 70s, complaining of stomach pain for 3 hours. His face is pale, covered in cold sweat. I approach him and ask where it hurts. His stomach, he tells me. It hurts so much. I hold his hand. Cold. I check his pulse. Fast. His eyes are unfocused. 30 years of experience send up an alarm. This is not just stomach pain. I find Dr. Park and tell him the patient in seat 9 needs a CT scan immediately. I have seen these symptoms before. This could be a perforation. He looks skeptical, but he sees something in my eyes and nods. The CT shows acute appendicitis. About to rupture. Emergency surgery. The man survives. Dr. Park finds me afterward. He asks how I knew. I tell him that when you have seen enough, you just know. You look at a patient's face and something tells you. I cannot explain it any better than that. He shakes his head and says I am amazing. That he still has so much to learn. Those words mean everything. Someone who sees me. When words fail. One day, a foreign worker is brought to the emergency room. From Nepal, they say. He barely speaks English, just crying out in pain. The staff cannot figure out where he hurts. I approach. I do not speak Nepali. But there are other ways. I take his hand and meet his eyes. Slowly, I point to parts of my body. My head, my chest, my stomach. Each time he shakes his head. I grab some paper and draw a simple outline of a body. I hand him a pen and gesture for him to show me where it hurts. He takes the pen, draws a circle on the left side of his lower back, then draws a grimacing face. I understand. Side pain. And from his expression, probably worse when urinating. I tell the staff. Tests confirm kidney stones. Treatment begins. He improves. The day he is discharged, he finds me. He cannot speak to me, but he presses his hands together and bows. Tears in his eyes. Language does not have to connect us. Hearts can. That is what 30 years taught me. People do not only hurt in words. They hurt in their eyes, their expressions, their movements. When someone reads that, patients feel less alone. The wandering grandmother. One afternoon, there is commotion in the lobby. An elderly woman in her 80s is wandering around. Dementia, it seems. No one with her. She is crying out, asking where her son is. Security approaches to restrain her. She grows more agitated, yelling at them to let go. Things are about to turn ugly when I step forward. I motion for security to back off. Then I stand in front of her. I call out to her softly. "Ma'am." She looks at me. Her eyes dart with fear. I ask if she is looking for her son. She calms slightly and says yes, she cannot find her boy. I tell her I have 2 sons too. I ask if she misses him from when he was little. The fear leaves her eyes. She says yes, her boy used to call for mama all the time when he was small. I take her hand and slowly guide her to a chair. I bring her warm water, rub her back, and listen to her talk. Eventually, her son arrives, panicked. A man in his 50s. He falls to his knees when he sees her and starts crying. Apologizing that he looked away for just a second. He thanks me over and over. He explains that she has gotten worse since his father passed. He works so much that he cannot take proper care of her. I see my own sons in him. If I end up like that one day, will my boys come looking? Or not even bother? I tell him it is okay. That he loves his mother very much. That is what matters. As I say it, I want to cry too. ACT3 The parachute lady. Cold stares. But life at the hospital is not smooth. Few people welcome me. Except for Dr. Park, most find me uncomfortable. Young nurses call me the parachute lady behind my back. They send me on coffee runs and leave my chair out of meetings. I hear what they say about me. Lucky she was in the right place at the right time. No license but thinks she is a real nurse. Got a job out of knowing the right person. Every time I hear those whispers, it feels like nails in my heart. But I endure. Say nothing. I have a reason to stay. The patients. Especially Martha Williams. She is still here. Alone, no family. Her children live abroad. I visit her every day. Bring her water, hold her hand, talk with her. She holds my hand and says she wishes I were her daughter. Then she asks where her girl went. Sometimes she rambles, asking where her daughter is. I learn later that she lost her young daughter during the Korean War. A refugee, separated during the chaos. She spent her whole life searching but never found her. Knowing that makes her seem even more fragile. I tell her I will be her daughter. At least while she is here. Tears roll down her cheeks. In the bathroom. Even so, hard days are hard. One day, a young nurse openly dismisses me. She asks me to make some copies for her. Since I used to clean, I must be good at that kind of thing, she says. Giggling in the background, I lower my head and make the copies. Afterward, I hide in the bathroom. Sit on the closed toilet lid and cry as quietly as I can. What am I doing? At 63, putting up with this just to stay here. I want to quit. Throw it all away. Then my phone rings. Kevin. The thing he told me about fell through. Sorry, but he is behind on rent this month. The tears stop. I almost laugh. From the absurdity of it. I tell him fine and ask how much he needs. After hanging up, I look in the mirror. Swollen eyes. Wrinkled face. Tired skin. Susan Chen. 63. Former cleaner turned advisor. A mom whose son keeps asking for money. A mother-in-law her daughter-in-law looks down on. Keep going. If I fall here, it is really over. I wash my face and walk out. The daughter-in-law's visit. Days later, an unexpected visitor comes to the hospital. Jennifer, my older son's wife. She is pregnant, her belly showing. I wonder if something is wrong with David. She pulls me aside, then speaks in a cold voice. She asks if I am still doing this job. She is planning a party for the baby's christening and wants to invite her friends. But when they ask what her mother-in-law does, and she has to say she is a hospital cleaner or advisor or whatever, what is she supposed to tell them? My heart sinks. I am an embarrassment to her. I ask what David says. She tells me he just says to do whatever makes me happy. He always says that. But she is the one who has to deal with it. She is so tired of explaining. I have nothing to say. Jennifer walks off, muttering. I stand there for a long time. My hands are shaking. I gave up 30 years for my children. Husband's care, mother-in-law's care, raising the boys. My dreams, my career, my life. All of it. And this is what I get. Being told I am shameful. Karen Miller's tears. Around that time, I witnessed something unexpected. Working late one night, I pass by Karen Miller's office. The door is cracked open, and I can hear a voice inside. She is on the phone. Her voice is shaking. She is telling her mother she cannot make it this week either. Work is crazy. She asks her mother to tell the caregiver she says thanks. She tells her mother she loves her. Then she hangs up. After she hangs up, I hear her crying. I step back quietly. I have seen something I should not have. Karen Miller. She too has left her mother with a caregiver while she works. Living with guilt she cannot shake. I begin to understand why she resented me. I was someone who gave up her career for caregiving. She was someone who gave up caregiving for her career. Maybe she looked at me and felt judged. Someone who could do what she could not. Annoying, enviable, hateful. We are the same, really. Two women who made different choices. Neither of us knows which was right. We just have our lives. Our own pain. After that, Karen looks different to me. Still cold, but I cannot hate her anymore. ACT for what the shadow saw. Something's wrong. Working at the hospital, I start noticing things. I felt it even when I was still cleaning. Now, as an advisor, it is even clearer. Someone is going in and out of the medication storage room at odd hours. always looking around nervously, moving quickly. And where they have been, I find discarded paperwork and empty medicine vials. I pick them up while cleaning. Old habit. See trash, pick it up. But something is off. The labels on the vials have been switched. Someone has pasted new names over the original ones. At first, I think it is a mistake. Someone put the wrong label. I let it go. But it keeps happening, 2 or 3 times a week. And strangely, around the same time. More patients in intensive care are dying suddenly. All ruled as underlying condition complications. But something feels wrong. Am I overthinking? Being paranoid? But 30 years of instinct keep sending warnings. Something is very wrong. The second victim. Then something definitive happens. A man in his 70s dies suddenly. He had been recovering from stomach cancer surgery. I remember him. We talked in the hallway just the day before. He was walking around, smiling. He told me about his granddaughter's graduation coming up. He was worried about what gift to get her. And now he is dead. Overnight. The doctors call it post-surgical complications. But I know, he was not that sick. I find Dr. Park and ask if I am the only one who thinks something is off. There have been so many sudden deaths lately. His face hardens. He tells me he has felt it too. But without evidence, there is nothing he can do. We look at each other, thinking the same thing. This is not coincidence. Someone is doing this. Martha is in danger. Then the most terrifying thing happens. Martha Williams takes a sudden turn for the worse. Just yesterday, she had been improving. She told me that when the weather was nice, she wanted to go for a walk. She wanted to feel the sun. Overnight, she loses consciousness. The doctor says that at her age, sudden declines happen. I cannot believe it. I sneak into the nursing station and check her chart. The medication record from last night. My heart stops. 3 times the normal dosage has been administered. This is no accident. Someone did this deliberately. My hands shake. Someone is trying to kill the woman I love. I run to Dr. Park and tell him to look at Martha's chart. Last night's dosage is wrong. He checks and goes white. This is clear overdose, he says. He asks who would do such a thing. We start emergency treatment. Administer the antidote. Monitor her vitals. Martha pulls through. But the person responsible is still somewhere in this hospital. The invisible investigator. I begin to investigate. Being a former cleaner helps. I know every corner of this hospital. Where the cameras are, where the blind spots are. Who walks where and when. Being invisible means no one is on guard around me. I move unnoticed, gathering information. I collect discarded documents, save suspicious vials, record what I see in camera blind spots. Dr. Park helps too. He reviews medical records and finds patterns among the deceased. Days of investigation lead to a horrifying discovery. The victims have something in common. All were seriously ill, long-term patients with no family or infrequent visitors. From the hospital's perspective, low-profit patients. And all their records show the same anomaly. Medication dosages changed at specific times. The culprit is an administrator from the finance department. He has been manipulating medications to improve turnover of unprofitable patients, help them die faster, clear the beds. I am stunned. This is happening in a hospital. But what to do with this evidence? Go to the press and the hospital collapses. Thousands lose their jobs. Cover it up and more patients die. The confrontation. As the investigation nears its end, a problem arises. The culprit has discovered I am looking into things. Late at night, in an empty corridor, I come face to face with him. He backs me into a corner. His voice is low and threatening. He asks what I think I am doing. A former cleaning woman poking around where she does not belong. My heart pounds. I am afraid, but I cannot back down. I tell him I was not just a cleaner. I spent 30 years at patients' bedsides. He sneers and asks what I can possibly do without a license. He tells me to think about my family. He implies something might happen to my sons if I do not stay quiet. A threat. He is threatening my family. Fear grips me, but Martha's face comes to mind. The faces of all the others who died. I tell him that 30 years ago, I did not back down from a patient. At my age, there is nothing left to be afraid of. He clenches his jaw, but footsteps echo from the end of the corridor, and he vanishes. I lean against the wall for a long time. My legs are shaking. Facing the director, I make my decision. Not the press, not the police. I will go directly to the hospital director. Dr. Thomas Wright. He bears responsibility too, but he is the only one who can save this hospital. Late at night, I knock on his office door. I hear him tell me to come in. Dr. Wright sits at his desk. He asks what brings me here at this hour. I approach slowly and set my evidence in front of him. I tell him he needs to see this. He scans the documents. His face grows harder with each page. He asks if this is real. I tell him yes. Dr. Park and I investigated. This administrator has been manipulating patient care to improve turnover. For profit. He slams his desk and asks how this could happen in his hospital without his knowledge. I speak calmly. I tell him I worked in the same emergency room as him 30 years ago. He looks up, confused. I explain. 1995. Mount Sinai emergency room. He was a resident. I was a nurse. He probably does not remember me, but I remember him. There was a homeless patient one night, no family. He stayed up all night to save him. Never gave up. That is why I stayed in nursing as long as I did. I pull out an old photograph. A 1995 emergency room staff photo. Young Dr. Wright the resident, and me, Nurse Susan Chen, standing side by side. I tell him that what is happening now is something the Dr. Wright I knew would never have allowed. His eyes waver. He stares at the photo for a long time. He asks if this is really me. I tell him yes, and that I trusted him then. I trust him now to do the right thing. Silence. Then he slowly lowers his head. ACT 5 reclaiming my name. The reckoning. Dr. Wright makes his decision. An internal investigation committee is formed. The administrator and his accomplices are exposed, one by one. Handed over to police. The story breaks in the media. The hospital's failures are laid bare. Stock prices crash. Patients flee. Anxiety spreads among staff. But Dr. Wright holds a press conference and apologizes publicly. He vows to make patient safety the absolute priority. To become a hospital capable of self-correction. His sincerity seems to reach people. Slowly, public opinion shifts. Instead of condemnation, praise emerges for a courageous decision. I watch quietly. This is what I wanted. Not revenge. Not recognition. Just patients receiving safe care. Martha recovers fully. The day before her discharge, she holds my hand. She tells me I saved her life. She thanks me. I tell her no. She held on. That is what saved her. She reaches into her hospital gown and pulls out a small handkerchief. Old and faded. She tells me it was her daughter's. She has kept it for 60 years. But she wants me to have it now. Because I am her daughter. I take the handkerchief. Tears fall. I tell her we will meet again. I will come visit her. I wave until her car disappears from view. Reconciliation. After everything settles, an unexpected visitor finds me. Karen Miller, the chief nursing officer. She calls me Ms. Chen. For the first time, her voice is soft. She says she owes me an apology. She made things hard for me. I smile and tell her it is all right. I understand now. She had her own struggles. Tears well in her eyes. She tells me that what I did for Martha, I did for a stranger what she could not do for her own mother. She was so ashamed. That is why she resented me. I take her hand. I tell her we all have our circumstances. Loving her mother while working hard is still love. It just looks different. We talk for the first time. Really talk. About our lives. About our pain. It takes time for women to understand each other. But when they do, it matters. My son's tears. The story makes the news. Former cleaner turned advisor exposes hospital scandal. Days later, David comes to the hospital. My older son who has never visited. He stands in front of me and says my name. Mom. His eyes are full of tears. He says he had no idea I was doing all this. He thought I was just cleaning. He had no idea how hard I was working. He was always asking for things and never giving back. He tells me he is so sorry. My 38-year-old son cries in my arms. For the first time in decades. I cry too, but not sad tears. I tell him I am fine. As long as he is healthy, that is success. Money is not success. Family being healthy and loving each other is success. He nods. He tells me he will come more often. He will bring Kevin too. He wants us to start over as a family. Those words are better than any gift in the world. Days later, Jennifer calls. She asks me to please come to the christening. She says she will introduce me to everyone. As her baby's grandmother. I laugh. The world is changing, little by little. A new beginning. Dr. Wright calls me in. He tells me he would like to offer me an official position. Senior Advisor for Patient Safety. A good offer. But I politely decline. I tell him titles do not matter to me. I just want to be useful where I am needed. He asks what I would like to do. I share an idea I have been thinking about. People like me. Career gaps, no license, but years of caregiving experience. Create a program for us. We cannot do medical procedures, but we can hold hands. Listen. Alert staff to warning signs. He considers it, then nods slowly. Patient guardians. A new program. He tells me I will be the first trainer. And so it begins. Others like me gather, one by one. People wanting a second chance in life's second half. We are not doctors. We are not nurses. But we can hold a patient's hand. And that alone has meaning. Epilogue. My name is Susan. 4 a.m. I am walking down the hospital corridor again. But this time, no mop. Instead, a navy vest with a name tag. Patient guardian. Susan Chen. At the end of the hall, a young nurse sees me. She stops and bows. Good morning, Ms. Chen. Those words sound so good. I smile and return the greeting. Then head toward the emergency room. Ready to hold someone's hand today. 25 years I lived without my scrubs. Caring for my husband. Caring for my mother-in-law. Raising my children. I thought those years were wasted. But they were not. Those years made me. The depth to understand people. The ability to feel their pain. The strength not to give up. 25 years of caregiving gave me all of that. Machines measure life. But only people save it. I know now. There is no such thing as wasted years. My name is Susan Chen. A nurse starting over at 63. No, just Susan. Not someone's mom. Not someone's wife. Not someone's daughter-in-law. Just me, Susan. My prime was not in my 20s. Now, having reclaimed my name, I have finally become the main character of my own story.